Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Legacy Leaders. Today, Scott McMeans. I'm joined by Erica C. Penick. She is the president and founder of the Penwill Group. I want Erica to tell her story. She's going to give you a little insight to what she does, how well she does it. And we're going to start talking about some of the good things that can come out of being in business. So, Erica, the camera and microphone are yours. Tell us your story. How did you get here? What is it that you do? How well do you do it? And why are people loving working with you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Scott, for reaching out and having me on your podcast and giving me a platform to share my story. Again, I'm Erica Pennick, and I am the president and founder of Penwill Group. We're located in Northeast Ohio, and we take small businesses from ideation to activation. And even more so, we focus on those micro businesses that are not just small, but may have five or less employees, $250,000 or less in revenue. And the reason we say take from ideation to activation is there are so many great programs that offer theory and networking. But after those programs, how do you implement? And many small businesses don't have the human capital to do so. And that's where we come in. Our team works collaboratively with leadership as well as departments, uh, leads within organizations to make certain that we are that human capital that takes care of those implementation activities.
Love this. Okay. So the idea of ideation to activation, what you're pretty much saying is you have a great idea, a good strategy, but you don't know necessarily how to implement it and get it off the ground. That's where we step in from the Penwill Group. I love the idea of it. So walk me through how does this work from your side of the equation so people understand, okay, that's exactly what I get when I talk to Erica and her team at the Penwill Group.
Absolutely. I'll give you a couple of examples. Example one is someone who has an idea. They may have already thought about what type of business they want and what they want to do, but they haven't yet registered with the Secretary of State. They
Okay.
don't know how to set up operations, who should be their professional support team, their fractional services, because all of us, when we have a business, we need a CPA, we need an
Mhm.
attorney, we need a administrative system. How do we navigate those processes so we can help with those? So we help take their idea and make it a first step to becoming a formalized business. Then there are those that are already formalized businesses that have been working in their business to make it function, but not necessarily on growth of their business. So taking from working in your business to on your business. And so we will say, okay, now here you are. You need to get your branding and strategy
Mhm.
out there. You need to revamp and assess your marketing. What is your target market, your client niche? How do you make certain that you are in the right spaces and rooms? And what are those strategic connections? Do you have a capability statement if you now want to scale to work with government entities or major corporations? A third example are those that are already working in a larger capacity, but are looking to formalize or solidify their processes. So, yes, they've been doing great work. They have tons of sales. Their processes have been working, but nothing is formalized. So, they might do all of the right things in all of the right ways, but it's not repeatable. All of their
Mhm.
organizational knowledge resides within their head. So, how do we trans export that from here to a tangible documents that can be repeatable and succession planning can begin?
Love it. This is exactly what people need when they're a small business, right? Because they come into the idea, I'm going to run a business and I'm really good at being an HVAC technician, let's just say. I really know how to do this, but they don't know how to run a business, right? It's
Absolutely.
the old E-myth from Seeger where people understand I'm really good at something, but I don't know how to transition that skill set over
Mhm.
to business ownership. So you step in, much like I do, right? And we help people organize themselves, get themselves into a mental state that allows them to be better at making decisions. It allows them to be better at finding the right people to be on their team and allows them to build the right systems so they can have a team work on something without headaches. I love the idea of this. You've been doing this for how long now?
I have been doing this for over 10 years. My team collectively has been doing this for over 50 years. And I want to backtrack to something that you just said about the process. We call ours systems, processes, policies, and people. Those are the four areas in which we focus. So when you said that, that certainly resonated with me.
Okay, say that again. I want to make sure I get all four. Systems, what?
Systems, processes, policies, and people.
Okay. The people is what I love to hear about. So let's talk a little bit about people. How do you incorporate people into that scenario?
So again, when we're my niche is micro businesses. So most times it is an individual who is a solopreneur or one to three
Hmm.
people in a group. So we are their human capital. We are an extension of their team to help execute. But once we're beyond that, then how do we help you integrate new talent? How do you develop the team that you have, and how do you recruit and retain new talent? What does that look like for you? And how do you have those systems in place that allow you for that growth to support additional new
Yeah.
talent?
Yeah. I think one of the challenges that most businesses have is identifying the people they want to have on their bus, right? What seat they want to put them on, and then what jobs they want them doing while they're in those seats. That's one of the bigger challenges I think every business has is when you grow, how do you grow with the right people versus how do you grow with just people? It's
Correct.
easier to grow with the right people, right? Because there's an alignment to your vision, your mission. There's an alignment to what jobs need to be done and how they're going to be done. That makes things work a lot faster and a lot easier as a business. But if you think about it, you bring the wrong people on board, what does that do to derail what you want out of your business from a vision and a mission perspective? It's one of the more important things that we need to pay attention to. And as a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of hiring somebody that doesn't fit for 6 months. You want somebody
Correct.
that's on your team. So how do you do that? And I just listening to what you're talking about, the process, the policies, the procedures, all that makes sense. When it comes to people, you better have really good processes. You better have a really nice
Exactly.
system, right?
Yes.
And on top of it, I just think it's easy to say, we have a really cool mission here at the company. But if you don't live it every day, the mission gets lost. So for me, vision and mission are one of the two most important things a business
Mhm.
can establish
Mhm.
because that's how you attract the right people. Whether
Correct.
it's the right people to work for you or the right people you're going to go work for,
Mhm.
it aligns your business to the people you want to be connected to, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Those collaborations are extremely important. So again, when you're talking about people, it's not just the people that are on your team, but the people with whom you collaborate, your connections, your network with which you can leverage
yeah.
um, to grow your business.
You brought up a really good point. The people that you have working with you are one part of the people that you need to have in your sphere of influence. The other part is the people that you work for, your customers, but the other ones are your network. And we don't talk about that enough other than when it comes to marketing, we'll leverage your network, right? So when we're talking about people, it's more than just who you buy from and who you sell to.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
more than who does that work for you. It's who is in your network that can help you get to the next level of people that'll connect to you in a different capacity and how you can connect others to make their lives easier. I don't think we spend enough time realizing as a connector of people,
Mhm.
we can do a lot of really good work. Right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times people get so caught up on social media. How many people am I connected to on LinkedIn? How many followers do I have on this
Yeah.
social media platform? And some people have thousands and tens of thousands, but are you really connected? What
Yeah.
is the actual impact? And so my network of people is extremely small. Everyone with whom I am socially connected or virtually connected, I am in real life connected
Yeah.
so that it makes an actual impact. Um, One of the distinguishing factors about our organization is that we don't make recommendations or connections to organizations. We make connections to individuals. It is
Yeah.
so unimportant to be able to say, yes, go to this organization and they do this, that, and the other. And then you can't get through all of the systems and fluff that goes along with it. It's important that there's an established relationship with someone at that organization with whom I can make a direct connection and give them a preview of the person with whom I'm connecting them so that there is a nurtured relationship in
I
development where
love
that
that.
connection is made.
Yeah, there's something the context of a connection, right? This is something that I have a really good understanding of because I believe in it, right? You could have a really good connection with somebody and it's productive, it's fruitful because you both are doing
Mhm.
something to help each other out. And then there's the faux connections where they present themselves as this amazing individual that can connect you to so many different people. And
Correct.
you learn the people they connect you to don't know them very well. Or when
Mhm.
they do know them, they don't have a very positive thing to say about them because
Mhm.
something has happened. Or when you do get connected, they have no interest in what you do because the connection wasn't thought out when it was originally put together.
Correct.
And I go back to, you said your network's very small. And I don't want that's not a bad thing as long as the
Mhm.
network is very strong as far as connections and activity within that network. I go back to like networking groups, right? And somebody will stand up and be very proudful of how many different introductions and referrals they give. But the referrals are bupkis. They're not real people. They're not really good connections, but they
Mhm.
sound good because
Correct.
in that networking group, they're a top producer, but they don't produce anything but false expectation. What I would rather have is somebody step up and say, hey, I can introduce you to this person. It's going to make you some money and you're going to have a really good connection out of it. Rather than here's 14 people I want you to talk to, and none of them are going to ever want to do business with you. So
Correct.
it comes down to the people side of things. And this is where it's an interesting conversation. People are the driver of business. And you said it before. I want a connection to an individual, not to a business. And that is a strong statement.
Correct.
So thank you for that. That's a really good lesson. That's a good
Absolutely.
one. Yeah. As we think about this, Erica, what are some other lessons that you think are really important for a business owner to really tap into and get a good insight with?
I certainly have learned this over the course of many years and some failures and some stressors, but it is extremely important to set your own personal boundaries.
Okay.
As business owners, we want to do it all, give it all, every moment of the day, but there has to be personal boundaries in establishing these are the hours that I work. These are the times that I rest and reset. These are my family moments. These are the times
Mhm.
that I pray and worship. Um, because if you are unhealthy physically, mentally, spiritually, you cannot create, innovate, and give and pour
Yeah,
into the cups of others, which is what you do as a business owner.
I love that. I just wrote the note healthy giver. Okay. Because if you are of sound mind, body, and soul, you
Mhm.
are much better prepared to be a giver than you are a taker. And
Yes,
as a business owner, everybody has a perception of the business owner just does this to make money. Yes, we are. I'm going to go on a limb and say the Penwill Group is a for-profit organization,
correct. Absolutely.
right? But it's not because of the money we make. It's because of the lives we get a chance to change. And that's what I love about what we do is we get a chance to talk to people and ultimately give them the opportunity to change their life for the better. And it's not because we're better than them. It's because we see it differently than they do because, and I say this all the time, most business owners don't see the forest through the trees, right?
Mhm.
And you and I are the ones that walk in either with an axe to chop down some trees so they get a better view, or seeds to plant more trees so they can see exactly what they're in the middle of. Either way, it's our job to get people to step back and open their eyes to the opportunity that's in front of them. And by teaching them through the various means that you talked about, whether it's policies, procedures, systems, and people, we get a chance to teach people how to be better at business, which in turn makes them
Absolutely.
a better person for their family, right? So instead of working 80 hours a week, what if you worked 4 days a week and you took Fridays off and you spent it with your wife
Mhm.
or spent it with your husband, spent it with your family and did the things you've always wanted to do? Because you own a business, you should be able to do that. You took
Absolutely.
the risk, right? You
Right.
created an
Mhm.
entity, and now it should give you the life that you've always wanted. Business is no harder than people make it out to be. And I think what the likes of you and I do for others is we try to make them a better life because that's what they've always wanted. They just got stuck in the process of building a business, which is a good thing,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
I
So as
call
you,
myself I call myself a puzzler because there's all of these pieces and how do they fit together? And you
oh,
find
okay.
the right connections and matches so that it does create the big picture that the business owner is expecting. And then they can step back and see, here it is, here's the vision. Here
Yeah,
it
there
is.
you go. That I love that because
Yep.
there's always something that you can add to or subtract to make the picture prettier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Over the years, you've been doing this. What's one of the bigger challenges that you think you've had to face and overcome that you'd want to share with the audience?
Um, it comes back to being what we just talked about. As an employee, when I was an employee, I spent a lot of years being a people pleaser.
Mm,
Um, um, earn by doing and
mhm,
satisfying the comforts of others, um, at the expense of your own comfort and levels of stress. And so I think it's important that um, you understand what your value is and being able to articulate that well, and also being able to accept that every door that you want to walk through is not meant for you, and that
mhm.
no's are sometimes great yeses for something else.
Well, like that. A no is a yes to something else. Perfect. That's really good. So, what's one of the, okay, what's a no that turned into a yes for you?
I left an organization a while ago that I led and I loved and I enjoyed so much. But over the years, it had been extremely stressful. It was demonstrated unapologetically their lack of value for me, even though I had done these things. And when I left that organization, I was bound and determined I'm going to prove to them by going to this next gigantic organization,
Hmm.
with this great salary point, et cetera, and do all these great things for this next organization. And in that, God kept saying, nope, nope, nope. And I thought, oh my goodness, what is happening? Why are all these things no's for me?
Mm,
But what I didn't know and what God sent to me was there were people that had been watching and observing me that I didn't even know were my
okay.
audience. And someone came to me and said, we would like you to do this thing for us at this extraordinary amount of money, um, because we've seen the work that you do. We know what your integrity is. And it wasn't something that I went after. And so that's why I say in the previous statement that sometimes your no's are
Hmm.
doors to yes. But it also gave me something that my grandmother and mother used to tell me when I was younger, but I understand now, is that you have an audience even when you don't know it. So
Yeah.
people are constantly watching.
Hmm. That's a really good lesson, right?
Yeah,
So if you think about it, if an audience is always watching, that's how you build character and people can respect and understand your character and speak of you without you being around, right? Isn't that
correct.
one of the better things that you can talk about is, you know, the character of me is revealed by others when I'm not around.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So they'll
That's
talk about
great.
me in good
Yes.
in form. They'll say nice things about me because I'm not there.
Mhm.
That's good because when they were watching and I didn't know they were watching, they paid attention to the good that I was doing, and that is character. So I that's a great one. I like that. Thank you. All right. All things considered, what's the best part of your job? What do you love the most about the Penwill Group?
Like I said, I'm a puzzler. So I love being able to solve problems for other people.
Okay.
and their excitement when they're like, I didn't even realize that was possible, or I wasn't. I had a client the other day when we had a meeting and I brought information to them, and her response was, I definitely was not expecting this. Like, I didn't think that these were the outcomes that you would present to me, that these were even possibilities. So being able to, as you said, we are able to see outside of
Yeah.
their vision because they're so focused on the work. And so
Yeah.
being able to bring a solution that was unexpected is so exciting to me.
I love it.
And of course, when I'm able to get a client some funding, that really excites me.
Well, that what you're describing is I've always said it's the Romeo and Juliet light upon yonder window moment, right? Oh, I finally get it. Oh my God, it's that simple. I never thought of
Yes,
it that way. Like those
yes,
moments, we also call them blinding flashes of the obvious, but I love the visual of light upon yonder window break. It's like,
yes, I
oh my
like that.
God, it's so simple, Erica. Like I can't believe I've
Yes.
been doing this way for this long. And
Mhm,
you get a
mhm.
chance to solve that person's problem or solve their puzzle, and now they're so grateful for you and what you've done that the collaboration just continues to get stronger and stronger because now one problem begets two, three, five different problems are solved in a short period of time. All they want to do is start solving problems, right?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I agree with you. It's the best part of what we do is we get a chance to see people go from wherever position they were to, oh my God, now I can breathe. I really enjoy what I'm doing now. I'm not so stressed. I do have a plan. I am structured. This all makes sense
Yes.
to me, right? And that,
Ab-
it's really cool to see people go through that. In your mind, how do we get more people to get away from the ego, get away from the hubris that keeps them from seeking help? What is it that you do to get people beyond that state? Right? Because one of the bigger challenges is getting people to recognize I do need help. Right? So how do you do that?
I don't think that people not are necessarily unwilling to get help. I think that at least for my demographic of constituents, the help is unaffordable.
Okay.
And so being able to help navigate and identify resources that are free, economic, and if I'm going to put money into it, that there's going to be an actual tangible implementation
Hmm.
immediate to solve my problem. Because if I'm going to invest those dollars, I need to make certain that there is an actionable outcome. Most of the, no, not most, but all of the um, business courses that Penwill Group offers are free. I have to give a big thanks to Cuyahoga County Office of Small Business for their support in helping to make that possible. Um, and then also the coordinated collaborations that I've been able to establish with larger organizations and corporations that help make that possible as well.
Yeah. Well, good for you. And what I find interesting about reprogramming, everybody, well, you get what you pay for it. Okay, look at it from a perspective of you get a chance to show up at a program, a seminar, whatever, and get a free education. What you do with it is completely up to you, right? If you want to take a free piece of information and run with it, you can be unbelievably successful. If you want to pay somebody to tell you the exact same thing and run with it, you're going to be unbelievably successful. It all depends on what you're going to do. And there's a reason why, I'm with Action Coach, right? Action is a big part of what we do. And no matter what you do, action is the number one key to making things
Yes.
happen. Of
Yes.
all the plans of mice and men, right? Nothing happens until you take action. So build the right strategy, talk the right words, all those things. But at the end of the day, you have to take action. And if it's
Absolutely.
free or you pay for it, who cares, Erica, right? Just
Yep.
move forward because moving forward is what's going to get you to the next step. And that to me is what we're all about is how do we help people go from where they are to closer being to where they want to be. And that's what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that. Um, Final question for you, because you believe it or not, we've been talking for about half an hour. It goes by so fast. Great question for you. I'm going to put you in a time machine and
Mhm.
send you back, and you get a chance to meet 18-year-old Erica. What's that conversation sound like?
That conversation would be, and I've had this conversation with my adult children. My number one, or really my only regret in life is not having left the country when I was younger
Ah,
and
love it.
having much broader cultural experiences to influence my scope of thought.
Be more global in nature because there's a big
Yes,
blue marble that we are just a little tiny
yes.
blop here in Northeast Ohio. That's a great piece of advice. So, with that being said, how old are your kids?
I have a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old, and I am the grandmother of two
Oh,
grandgirls, 3 and 1.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes,
How
I
how
love it.
often how often have your kids left the country?
Um, my son has been to Sweden and a couple of other countries. I have left the country since, but I just
Okay,
meant
good.
at my younger age.
No,
And
I love the idea because that's a great
yeah,
piece of advice.
yeah,
And the funny thing is, when I was a young man, the first time I ever got on a plane, I was 21 years old. Okay. The first time my two children ever got on a plane, my daughter was 3, my son was 6. I
yes,
wanted, like, let's go. I want you guys to experience different things. We're not going to just stay here. Let's go try different things. And now their passports are filled with stuff because
yes,
they've had a chance
yes.
to go experience different parts of the world. So I love that for them. I love that for your kids. That way they get a different experience.
We
It's
definitely
funny.
have all had international travel independently together, but to your point, I would have my 18-year-old self would have said, go then. So it's much
Yeah.
broader.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
I always encourage my children to do that from the very beginning. So when my son went to Sweden for the first time, he was maybe 19, 20.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? What I love about being a parent is I have these two amazing human beings that are diverse and dynamic and have this amazing perspective on life, not because I handed it to them, but because they went out and discovered things for themselves. And I
Yes,
love the idea of being a parent. This is the best job I could ever have. So thanks.
absolutely.
Thanks for having that conversation with it.
Yes.
Um, any final words that you want to say to the group, as far as, a lesson or something that if you had to say like one thing, anything you have in mind that you want to talk to the team about?
If you have an idea for a business, don't be afraid to explore it and to take that risk. That's how innovation and creation evolves. Um, when you're ready to go out on your own, um,
Love
it
that.
may not be a complete step away from your 9 to 5, but there are steps and processes and milestones to reach so that you feel comfortable with being a solely reliant on your business. That is a huge undertaking.
Yeah, it is. Erica, I want to thank you for being a part of the program. Excellent pieces of advice, excellent information that we shared. I really appreciate the discussion because I think it showcases that regardless of us being in the same space, we can talk about how we can help others. And we have an abundant mindset that everybody that deserves help will get it because they get a chance to work with somebody like yourself. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being on the program.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon on the next episode of Legacy Leaders.